these fields are here to help our children grow up strong and athletic and vital, but if at the same time they're ingesting chemicals that are harmful and that will show up later in their lives, then we're not doing them a favor.
According to CDC, 1 out of every 6 American children now has some kind of neurological disorders. It's because of chemicals.
And what do we know about the impact that these chemicals might have on early childhood development? The answer is we have no information at all on about 80% of the chemicals, which is to say that every day our children, and that includes fetuses, infants, young children, are exposed to a whole suite of chemicals.
The reason we're really concerned about the artificial turf, both the plastic and the tire crumb, is because we are exposing our children to a concentrated soup of all kinds of toxins
that are skin and eye irritants. They have toxins that are actually carcinogenic.
These materials, it's important to know, were not made for this purpose. They were not made to be used by children.
There's a phenomenon that we pediatricians call windows of vulnerability, times of exquisite sensitivity. If a child is exposed to a toxic chemical at those points in time. And children have decades ahead of them. They have a long time in which to develop disease that may be triggered by early exposures.
We did that with lead and poisoned thousands of children for nearly 75 years.
We have to think about how exposures now might cause disease that has very long latency.
What is good for a tire is not good for a child. Right. Repeat after me. There is no such thing as an acceptable level of lead for children.
And we know that at very low levels, that a heavy metal, if it gets into the child's body, will stay there, will be there for the child's entire life.
Some of these are cancer-causing compounds, and does chronic long-term exposure in kids who have those unique vulnerabilities put them at greater risk of cancer.
We're very concerned about the turf gassing off what's called polyaromatic hydrocarbons. These are gaseous chemicals which are known to cause cancer.
So if you put an infant on a blanket on these fields and there's a concentration of some gas on the ground, the infant's going to be exposed more relative to their size than the adult.
We know that some of the plastics are endocrine disruptors. Anything that disrupts endocrines really disrupts the future of the entire child. Serious cancer risks and neurotoxicology risks and respiratory toxicity risks are present when you put it on a soccer field or an athletic field.
Children's brains and nervous systems particularly are developing rapidly, and there are unique windows where they are more susceptible to toxins. And we've seen this repeatedly with exposure during pregnancy or exposure to very young kids.
We are not going to let our young ones play on fields that could harm them.